Listen, I want to tell you, Kendra G, every time you open your mouth and speak independently, you make a fool out of yourself. You're better at cut, paste, copy.
Now, there are moments in time where you can actually see contradiction for what it is in live view in person. And you can see a lot of the contradictions that go on between male and female situations. And in this particular case, as you've seen in the beginning of the video, we're going to be talking about Kendra G. Now, Kendra G had a live show not too long ago, which was one of her dating shows. And there was a guy who happened to call in who had worked with her before. And last time it didn't work out, so on and so forth. But he's back looking for love. But there was a conversation that came up as to him having a child and how the child came to be. And in the moments of him explaining it, he had mentioned that it was done without his consent. And even before he even got into it, he explained that men cannot use these words. And she was like, well, what did she drug you? And he was like, something like that. Well, as the story commences, what we learn is that he had had too much to drink. And in the midst of them getting it in, he goes to pull out, and the lady wraps her legs around him and said, no, you are going to give me a child. And he was like, it's over now. And he's like, hey, you got to take this plan B. She was like, I will not. Now, as the conversation is going, Kendra G is so focused on being right. Now, mind you, I'm going to leave two YouTubers that did their videos based on it. One is Dee, and the other one is Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews. Both of them have very unique perspectives on it, so I'm going to leave those down in the description so you can check it out. But my viewpoint is a little different. It's because of the contradictions and the double standards. Because this man is openly saying this was done without my consent, and she's finding every which way to try to make him accountable, which he did from the beginning. He was like, if I did not put myself in that situation, this wouldn't be going on.
Why you not with the mama? You had a baby since you've been on my show too.
Yeah. Another person trying to run the system, trying to take advantage, you know.
She
Yeah, you can say that. We as a man, I can't really run with that narrative because nobody can really believe it. But yeah, I put it on the Bible that that's what happened. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still an accountable adult. Still got to do what I have to do in this world, you know, because that is my prodigy. So nevertheless, how he got here, that's what we doing.
Or this wouldn't have happened, so on and so forth. I have to take accountability for that. Now, that actually irked me because I'm like, when have you ever seen a situation where a woman has been essayed and someone just lets them say, I have to take accountability for putting myself in that situation? What do they say? Oh, no, you have a right to say no. You have a right to do this and that. It's not your fault that this person didn't respect your body, right? But to see her in action and to see her go after this man and try to make him understand that it's his fault that he's in that situation was wild to me. And it showed me how bad the conversation really is when men open up about situations like that. Because she made this mention and I was like, wow, this has got to be the wildest statement ever. She said, and I quote, if you're not conscious, how are you able to get an erection?
are coherent because you told me exactly what happened. You told me she was on top of you. You told me that.
I told you I was on top of her. She put her legs around me.
Either way, you are telling me exactly what happened in the sexual activity. So you were not, you were conscious. So you can't use that as an example. And conscious, only thing you can say is if you don't remember nothing.
This is crazy.
And then that will still be hard because then it'll be like, how did you have an erection?
Hey, yo, couldn't believe she said it. Because I'm like, that is just the equivalent to asking a woman, how is she getting wet when she doesn't want it? I'm telling you, I've seen this before. They used to go off on men that were in the Congress rooms that would say ignorant things like that. She said that with no hesitation because she was more focused on being right instead of focusing on the fact that, hey, man, you didn't even have to say that, hey, my bad, let's move on. But instead, she was focused on making that man wrong. Because in this society, men are always viewed as predators. Never, never as a victim. Even in today's age, women are still not viewed as predators. But every week, you are starting to see more and more female teachers going after the young boys. Just Google it. Just Google one statement of a teacher assaulting, female teacher assaults a young boy, and you're going to get a list of them. And they don't get the same amount of time. They're not viewed as predators. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Well, not really, because that's how society has trained us. And he tried to move past the topic. He kept, no, just let, but I just want to say this. Like, she just had to be right. Had to make him wrong. And that is why men don't speak. You have to start being realistic in this world. Men are not only the predators that walk around. If you're talking about a male lion, there's a female lion. They eat just as much as the men and hunt more. Think about that. Now, I'm not trying to say all women are evil, but I just don't like the narrative that men are all bad. You'd rather be out there with the bear than be around a man because you believe all men are evil. If men were all evil, the world would look different. And it's a sad thing when you have a person that's willing to speak on this and say that this was done without my consent, and she still blamed him and made it a point. Even said that if any woman spoke to him, she was a goofy. It's a shame. This is why I'm very adamant to try to talk about things that are different. You know, fathers are important. Be in your kids' lives. Things like this. Because we have to change the way people think. And it has to start in the home. Men have to start being more real. You don't have to tell, if you don't want to tell your wife something because you think she's going to throw it back in your face, fine. But you teach your children the reality of what being a man entails. You know what I mean? There are going to be moments where you're going to see women around you that are going to downgrade men for being honest of something they're going through. They're going to look at them as weak. You be the one that stands up and says, be quiet. Because if it was you, you'd want sympathy or some form of empathy. You be quiet. Be that one that leads these women out of this place in this narrative that men are not without feelings. Or men don't have feelings. My apologies. They don't have feelings. They don't have the wherewithal to be emotionally intelligent, which doesn't make sense because we have to be the ones to be able to lead and communicate. How are we able to lead, communicate, and all of these things if we're not emotionally intelligent? I don't know. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments section. Like I said, I'll leave the link down in the description, but be on the lookout for more videos. All right, everybody? Peace.